This is a training video on the Wincom Family Parts app. This video will take you through some of the features and the capabilities to enable you to be able to collect families of parts in order to describe a single geometry. Let's look at some of the reasons that this app was created. Fundamentally, we have some cases where customers have multiple parts. Those parts really represent the same part in terms of its geometry, but have slightly different characteristics. A very typical example would be color. So in the case we have here, we have one family owner that is a specific type of handle or something which has a geometry, and then each of the subparts or the family members would actually represent the different colors of that particular family owner. Looking a little bit about the implementation, the diagram you can see here shows the connectivity of the various objects. The red links are actually custom links, so you can see what we're actually doing is using the inbuilt mechanisms of Wincom to give you a part-to-part link, and using those to hold these family members together. And of course, one of the things that we need is a user interface to be able to create and destroy and view these links. Here we can see a Wincom 11, and we're going to use this for our demonstration. So beforehand, I've created a few parts which we're going to use in the example here. So we've created all standard WT parts. The major part we're going to use here is called plate, and this plate part will be our family owner, and these three other parts will be our family members. Plus we have a few parts here which are going to be used as a part of the structure of the system that we're going to put in place. So how are family owners identified? Well, we're not going to use soft types because those are going to be used for the characteristics of the parts. So what we're going to be using is an idea of numbering. So the number will represent something about what these parts are. So the first and the most obvious way is what we're going to do is give the numbering which is indicative of this being a family owner. So what I'm going to use is, by default, the app is set up to have XXX as the family owner. So I'm going to rename this part XXX. At this point, you can see the identity of the part has changed. It is no longer a normally part, it is now a family owner because the system has identified the XXX. Now let's take a look at the user interface to support family parts. We're going to go to the family owner that we've just identified with its number. I'm going to go to its projects page. As you can see, we have the standard tabs here. At this point, what we're going to do is add a new tab. This new tab, we're going to rename it. So we're going to rename the tab to be Family. And we're going to add some new interfaces. Out of the box, you'll get these interfaces, but you can see when you install the app, you suddenly get three new interfaces. You get the family owner, you get the family members, and you get the family owner CAD documents. And we're going to add all of these three interfaces to our system here on our new tab. Going to spend a little time just to reorganize them a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put the family owner over here, the documents over here, and now we have the interface well organized. This is an owner, and what we'll need to do now is start to associate it with its family members. Only if we have access rights, and so the obvious thing to do now is to check out the part. When we check out the part, you'll notice some of the tables have changed and we have some new controls, and so we have the ability to start to add items to the family member section. I'm going to search now for my plate, so I'm going to add a plate search, and we're going to do a search here and open the screen, and we see our candidate family members. So if I select the three family members we're interested in, we're going to hit OK, and you can see these parts have been added. They automatically get checked out because they've become family members. They need to be checked out to be added. And so now what we can do is check in the family owner. The thing you'll notice at this point is these have already been associated. So the check-in of the family owner also triggers the check-in of the family members interface that we had before. And let's see exactly what it now looks like in the folder view. If we go back to the folder view, we can see that the icons now have changed. So because these items these parts are now associated, linked to this plate. We have a family owner and its associated family members, and the icons are showing the user exactly something about those relationships. This time, instead of going to the family owner, we're going to go to one of the family members. So let me go to plate 101. You can see this doesn't have any children at the moment, it doesn't have any family members because it itself is a member, but it does identify who owns it. So this time we're looking back up the link from the family member back up to the family owner. Look at the data model we first started with. Now it should be quite clear to you. We have a family owner and we have our family members. The family owner has the owner link to the CAD model, and in this case we saw that the family owner was identified by the XXX. The family members are identified by having a relationship to a family owner. Clearly, in a real system we're going to have structures, and so you can see here there's a CAD structure associated with the part structure. Some, but not all of this part structure is family owners, and the family owners are related to structures which have replacement for the family owners with family members. So we've seen a little bit about the usage. So this is how users would view the data, view the relationships between the various family members and the owners, and also, as you can see on the screen, things like the children. This isn't the entire story. Clearly we have to understand a little bit about the features, the relationship and the behavior of these objects working together. We've seen this a little bit already, and let's investigate that a little further. The features we're going to examine here are what happens when you make actions upon one of the family members or the family owner to the other ones which are related to it. So the first one we saw, which we saw during the creation, is that if we check out the family owner, the family members all get checked out too. So now these will stay in sync with each other, and as we make changes we can ensure that changes are propagated from the owner to the members. And once we check the family part in, the children will also be checked in. Go to the folder view and have a quick look at the relationship here and see what happens if we do the same checkout operation, but this time on a family member. In this particular case, we are allowed to check out the family member without affecting the other items of the family and check it back in again. One of the very important things about families is they must be held together. This means that we keep in sync the revisions. If you have a look at these items, they're all the same revision. If we take the family owner now and we revise it, we just take the owner, we revise it to be, we hit OK, you may notice something. The entire family has been revised. So by revising the owner, we automatically force the children to revise also, keeping us in sync. Seen, there is some automatic binding of the families and the family owners together. We're going to talk a little bit about how the users might interact with this and how may also choose to pull the relationships together. So let's take the plate, and what we're going to do is create a new promotion request. Now in a promotion request we have the opportunity to see the request first screen, and second screen we have our plate, and we could now go on to promote it. However, it's far more likely the user would want to promote both this plate and its associated family members. So we have added new features to the collector. By selecting the part, selecting the collect objects, we now have various objects immediately come up. The first two objects are its immediate children, so we may wish to collect those. But we also now have a brand new button called Collect Family Members. If I click on the owner, I collect its family members, you will see immediately the 3 plates the family members have been brought in, and we can add those to the promotion, and now these family members are going to be promoted with my family owner. As you can see, Family Parts is a relatively simple to use app. It gives us this capability of defining an owner and children, members should I say, and also gives us some very simple screens to be able to add and remove those members, and which allows us to control exactly our grouping our family. Plus it gives us automatic and dynamic ways of selecting the family owner and its members. Now let's look at a use of family parts within a structure. So what we're going to do here is understand a little bit about how we resolve a family owner to its family members. So we're going to do a demonstration based on this structure with a bolt and a plate. But you can see the plate is actually a family member, actually a family owner, which we need to resolve. Here we have our structure. This structure consists of our plate, our family owner, and another part. So if I go to our family tables here and have a look at the relationships, we can see immediately that the two children, and we can see the one that is not a family owner is marked as valid, but the other one needs to be resolved. So how do we do the resolution? Well, we need to then move this to become one of its family members. So if I then go in and I check out the part, again we can see the same information, and this time we have a new option. This option is called Update Family Children. It tells us all the structures, it's showing us the masters, but here on the swap we have a choice. So I can go to any one of the three family members. I'll choose the particular family member I wish. I hit OK, and at this point the structure has been resolved. I can check it back in again, go back to my structure, and now instead of the family owner I have my family member. Now we've covered some of the user interface. You can see some of the use cases. We have a few other features that it will be used for the administrators to know, because you may want to set up various family parts by using data that exists in your system already. We have created a number of utilities, and those utilities will allow you to create links, do various options to configure your data correctly. If this video was useful to you, you can always contact us here at Wincom if you have any further questions, and we'll be delighted to help you. Thank you and goodbye.